right, and welcome back to the next segment in the Doepfer A156 dual quantizer demonstration. We're going to continue and kind of pick up where we left off the last time around. In the last video, in case you did not watch it, what we did was we went kind of over the basic layout of this module and kind of what the ports do, as well as some of the switches here. So I'll assume that you watched that. That way you know where we're going to go from there and what we're doing when we're demonstrating, or already have some kind of working knowledge of how a quantizer works. So we're going to jump in and pick up where we left off, as I said. Last time we did just basic waveforms going into the dual quantizer, kind of setting up the patch. Since the A156 only accepts voltages at CVN in the positive range, whenever you feed in an LFO, when it hits the negative range, it just kind of stalls out, so it stops listening basically. But we kind of put the offset in the middle here to sort of adjust for that, so that way we get a nice smooth stream of notes coming out of our quantizer. Last time we kind of explored quantizer 1, more specifically the CV in and CV out. We haven't touched the trigger in or trigger out yet, but we will. We will come back to that here, but we're just kind of getting an overview of what the notes are coming out of these modules. So let's go into the second section, the quantizer 2, and just get our basic patch set up so that we can hear some of these major, minor chord settings in quantizer 2, the options that are available to you. So first, let's set up our synth patch, or sound source, I should say. I'm going to put my pulse wave in there, and I'm going to go into audio in there. So we should hear a little bit of a note. I'm going to actually adjust my pulse width a little. Yeah, like about there. That sounds good. And then I'm going to go with triangle out into audio in2. So there's my basic sound source. And then I'm going to patch an LFO. Let's do triangle wave again into my offset. And I think I left my offset settings the same as I had them last time, so it should start out fairly smoothly. I'm going to take my output from my offset module, go into my CV in, and then go out. Oh, sorry. Went into quantizer 1. We're going into quantizer 2 this time. And I'm going to go out my CV out right into CV 1 of my VCO. And I'm actually already in chord setting. Let's not do that quite yet. And put it in the default settings. And first we're just going to go into all. And so you should hear something very distinctive when you listen to this. It's kind of just sliding up and down the scale chromatically. I'll slow it down just a little bit. So, and something good to note about this, that way you just kind of get a basic understanding of this, is if I were to take my CV in and out and actually plug it in here, I should hear fairly close to what I just heard in quantizer 2. So here we go. Okay, so you should have that in your ears. Down the scale, back up the scale. Okay, so now if I patch it into quantizer 2, we have about the same sounds coming out. So in the all position, you basically have what quantizer 1 is. Now, one thing you'll notice here, and that's actually all and scale, I should say. Well, actually, no, that's right. If it's in the all position, these two are disabled, so if I switch here, you can hear that nothing is actually changing. These two switches are disabled when you're in the all setting. So it's basically sort of a mirror of quantizer 1 that is the same functions. Okay? All right, so that's the first one. I'll slow this down a little bit just so you can hear that. Okay? Now we're going to try the major position and get a listen to what that sounds like. So that's basically, instead of all the semitones in a scale, we're going to hear just the major scale. Okay, and now I'm going to actually bring the pitch of my oscillator down a little bit, just because I want to hear it at a lower octave. Let me slow it down just a little bit. And if any of you have practiced octaves out there, then this should sound very familiar. Okay, so that's the major setting. Let's have a listen to the sine wave in that same position. Let's actually speed that up a little bit. Okay, so you got the idea of the triangle and the sine. You may have noticed in the last demo and in this demo too, I'm kind of moving away from the pulse wave as part of a demonstration, and I'm just going to show you why I'm actually not choosing to use that one. Because if you know about a pulse wave, it's just kind of on-off, so all we will probably hear is one note and then another note. So not very exciting. So that's why I've been kind of moving away from that particular waveform. Not discriminating or anything, just, you know, not using that one because it's not quite as an effective demo. So let's try the saw wave. Now let's actually bring the frequency of that up so we can get a little faster. Okay, and now that we've heard the saw wave, let's have a listen to inverted saw. So I'm going to unpatch that and then patch that. And this is all still within the major scale. Haven't added any of the other settings yet. Okay, and we'll bring the frequency of that down. Okay. So that is our inverted saw. Now, let's kind of check out the minor scale. So I'm going to go to my triangle wave and then go in, and we should hear our minor scale now. So let's hear the difference. We're in minor right now. Let's go to major. So right now still minor. And now major. Okay, we're going to switch back to minor. Okay, now let's try the sine wave in minor. maybe slightly faster frequency. Now let's listen to the saw wave. Let's go a little faster. So we get a nice little falling kind of sound of the minor scale. All right, so that's our saw wave. Let's hear inverted saw going that way too. And we'll bring up the frequency. And we'll bring it down. Okay. So I think you got an idea of the difference between the major and the minor. So I'm going to unpatch that. And let's go back to our triangle wave. And we'll have a listen to the chord position. So I'm going to patch that. Right now I'm in minor. So let's start in major again. And then we'll switch over to chord position. So this is going to be just the arpeggio or the triad of the scale that you're in. And in my opinion, kind of the most musically useful thing in the Quantizer module, but just my personal opinion, the chord. I'm going to go a little faster. So that's our triangle wave. I'm going to go down a little bit. Now let's go to our sine wave. Let's actually bring up the frequency a little bit. Okay, let's go down to the saw wave. I'll bring the frequency down a little bit. I'm going to bring it up. Okay, so I'm going to unpatch this and let's go over to our inverted saw, who's kind of waiting in the wings. There we go. So this is in our chord setting. I'm going to bring this up. Okay, so we've kind of gone through the basic waveforms in the major chord position. And now I'm going to unpatch this. And we're going to come back to triangle wave and check out the minor setting in the chord position. So that's a pretty fast frequency there, so let's bring it down. Let's bring it up. Okay. So let's unpatch that, try the sine wave. And we're going to bring the frequency down a little bit. Okay, so we got the idea of that. Now let's go into the saw wave. I'm going to bring the frequency up for that one. Okay, I'm going to unpatch that. Now let's go to inverted saw. And bring the frequency down a little. And then bring it back up. Okay, so I think you got the idea of that one.